welcome to Rise Above.
Yes.
I'm Atika Ahmed, and today marks the beginning of the truly inspiring series where a podcast is created to actually celebrate the resilience and strength of women.
Wow.
Okay, so our purpose is to share and inspiring stories of those who overcome challenges, defy expectations, and are risen to create meaningful impact. So through honest conversation that I told you guys, we aim to empower listeners, spark growth, and remind everyone that no obstacle is too great to rise above.
Awesome.
Right. So ladies, thank you for joining me. And please introduce yourself, your name and what you do for a living.
You wanna, maybe Cindy, go ahead?
Yeah.
Okay, hi, I'm Cindy Leong, the founder of the Enneagram Academy and Relationship Studio. So I've been managing this business for the last 11 years. I started off with myself. That time I was single and then attached, married. Now I have 2 kids. And then the team also grew from 1 person to 3 people to a team of 12 right now. So yeah, that's the story. Yeah.
How about you?
Okay, so I'm Veronica. I'm 41 this year, and I'm an entrepreneur.
41.
Yes, I'm
Wow.
41. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, I run a few businesses, mainly events company, and I also do. I deal with supplements, health and wellness, but the distribution side of business, and then I also recently started a live stream company end of last year. Yeah, end of last year. Yeah, and I also kind of help out with my family business. So
Nice.
yes.
Nice. So, in this series, as you guys know, that we are focusing about women, right? For all the strengths and the challenges that they are faced. So, we will uncover the moments that shape you, the challenges that you faced, and how you rose to become the person you are today. So, to get started, I will go back to where it all begins. Where can you share a bit of your childhood and the family environment that shaped who you are today?
Okay, maybe I'll go first. So basically, I come from, well, my mom's a homemaker, and my dad brings back the bacon, and he has always been a very, how to say, he takes care of everything and everyone, and he's a very hardworking man, you know. He didn't come from money, so growing up he was really poor. Like he was in a family of, I don't know, 9, 10 siblings, and he really worked hard to get to where he was. And I think that, and yet he's also very present, you know. When I was growing up, I remember. So I grew up in Brunei. Yeah, my childhood was in Brunei.
Okay.
Yes, so interesting. Yeah, so despite his, you know, busy schedule and everything, my fondest memories were of him actually after work coaching me. He'll sit beside me and going through work with me, and I don't find that, how to say, you know, most kids don't like studying, right? But that was, yeah, it was in my core memory, and I really...
You enjoyed it?
Yes, yeah, and I think that shaped me and my thirst for learning, to better myself, and yeah, I've always been ambitious lah. Yeah, since, so I think that played a big and pivotal role. Yeah.
How was it like? You live in Brunei. You born in Singapore or?
No, I was born in Sabah. So we traveled around because of my father's work.
I see.
Yeah, so a good part of my childhood was in Brunei because of his job as well. Yeah.
How about you, Cindy?
Okay, so very different. I don't really grow up with my parents. So I actually live with my aunt and my uncle. So they are the like my role model, my caregiver since young, and I learned a lot from them. I remembered. Okay, so my first 12 years was really with them, and I only go back home on weekend. So only Saturday and Sunday I see my parents. Mainly my mom, because my dad was not around most of the time. So they have to look after their shop, right? So they have a shop, so their business. And so I have been left to my aunt and uncle. I heard I was only 2 months old at that time.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I was just sent there already. Yeah, and so Actually, sometimes people will tell me, yeah, you seem to be closer to your aunt and uncle, which is definitely
Naturally,
true, right?
yes,
Because in
naturally,
all my
yeah.
growing up years, so my aunt is a very nurturing person. So I can remember like how she is, like coaxing me to eat like carrot, to eat celery, to eat broccoli, right? Like the veggie that sometimes kids don't like to eat, right? And then she will not force you, like she won't be like holding a cane, but she's really nurturing. So she'll be like, yeah, I know you have to
My
eat.
mom is tough love.
Oh,
Don't eat.
no
dinner.
about it.
Yeah. Mine is the other way around. So
okay.
she's like really the very nurturing
Nurturing. Oh,
type.
that's
Yeah.
good. Yeah,
So
okay.
she seldom used the cane. I don't remember like, I mean, I do remember getting cane, but I don't
Okay.
remember like a lot of caning. I just remember
Because
like,
you're a good kid lah, that's why.
like when I'm doing something very bad, like really very bad, yeah, then I
okay.
do get caning. And I forgot what was the bad about also.
Okay.
I remember one, so she would be the very patient person, and then my uncle is the very logical person that would be teaching me like morals, and would be, he will be putting me to bed, reading stories to me.
Oh, that's so
And then he will be reading not the usual lullaby story, but it's this particular book called 绍兴师爷.
Wow.
So it's like what is the 师爷? It's like the lawyer in ancient Chinese days.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's in Shaoxing, so it's in this particular state in China.
Okay.
So he will read like, okay, this particular case, someone was being accused for blah blah blah, and how this lawyer right fights the case and so on and so forth. So I guess that also kind of shaped my mind to be like,
You know, it's funny you said that because another thing that I share with you is the stories, the bedtime stories. Also, both parents are. I mean, if my dad's not around, my mom would be the one, and she'll be reading in because she's more Chinese educated. So yeah, it'll be Chinese stories or newspaper stuff, you know. And then my dad would be reading stories from a storybook. Yeah. So yeah. Interesting.
different types of stories.
Wow.
Yeah.
Lucky you guys. To me, my mom will shout us to sleep. That's all. No story, nothing at all. So more tough love.
I see. Okay.
But so with all the childhood, right? Were there any specific lesson or value that passed down that have that influenced your goal that you set for yourself when you approach any challenges? Like if you can remember.
So one of the very big values my uncle always talk about is don't forget you are a Chinese. That's why my Chinese has always been good. I'm always in touch with Chinese, and I always like Chinese culture.
Yeah.
And recently, I have been teaching a lot of Chinese classes, and going back to Taiwan to conduct a Chinese class was actually very, very meaningful for me. So it's like, like never forget your roots kind of thing. Like that's
I
something.
think that's important.
Yeah, I just remember I was taught since young.
Okay. For me, it was, I think, in the same vein, like not forgetting, it's the importance of family. Yeah. So to me, family, filial piety, these are important qualities and values lah. And maybe because of how I see, growing up, I see that and experience that, and also, so I think that translates even till after marriage. Like that was my priority, or even in the partners or potential partners that I was seeking. Like that's got to be one of the criteria. Yeah. So
Growing up, I mean, everyone has a different cultural background, you see. And it's all my influence, like for me, Malay, there's a lot of like religion part of me that influence the goals that I have. And obviously challenges, right? So do you face this kind of thing is there any challenges that actually reflect the cultural background that you have on yourself? For example, like certain things I can do as a Muslim, Yeah. Do you have anything like interfering your goals?
interfering.
Or your family support you on whatever you're doing?
I won't. Okay, my challenges were not cultural. Yeah, because I don't really go against. I mean, my values are pretty in line with whatever cultural values I have, I suppose. So my challenges were more like, say, if I can be very headstrong, and if I believe, I'm someone driven by passion, right? So if I believe and set myself on something, I will just do that, you know,
Yeah.
regardless of
Do
what
it.
others say,
Yeah. Right.
despite my other so-called strengths or whatever lah that I can excel in. But if so that can be, I think growing up that can cause my parents kind of a bit of distress. I'm the eldest of 4. So I suppose it's also new to them, like how to deal with this child, you know? Yeah. So
Was there like a gender stereotype, like women should not
Yeah,
be so
that's right.
ambitious and driven and so
leh.
on?
Okay, in that sense, I am quite blessed because my father actually showed and taught me a lot about like business and opened me up to that world. And also because I was a very curious child, you know, I have always been very curious. I always like to ask questions, kepo lah, you know. So in that sense, no. In fact, in my entire family, I'm the only one that's invested in business, like whether it's in all sense and interested. The rest of my siblings are they have their own path. They excel in their own ways. Yeah. So no. So I guess if I want my way, I will get it. In that sense, I will work to it. And my parents are kind of supportive after they wrap their heads around, okay, since I can't change her, then let's just support
Bopian
her. Yeah, kind of, you know? Yeah.
Nice.
How about you, Cindy?
Yeah. Nothing. Okay, because I guess how my family is. I mean, even though my dad and mom run their business, my brother ran his business. But we're all very like doing our own things. Like we don't really interact or share pointers or refer clients to each other. Not at all. So it's like we're just like individually doing our own things and I think at one point my brother was like, actually, what are you doing? And I have to spend like 15 minutes like educating him what was I actually doing. So we are not like very closely knitted in that sense. Like we are all functioning on
In silo.
Yeah, in silo. And
okay.
I don't think I even asked my parents for like tips on business and things like that, because the nature of their business, like running a shop, tailor shop versus an academy, is like just very different, right? Yeah. So so they don't stop me. They just let me do whatever I want to do. Yeah. And I guess I appreciate that freedom lah. Yeah. And I don't know, they always say like this business thing runs in the blood, but okay, maybe, but we don't exchange pointers lah.
Actually, I mean, other than my dad and I don't really know exactly what my brother is doing. I know what my other brother, he's pursuing his PhD. Then my sister, I kind of know, but also don't really know. So I get that, you know, I get what you mean. Yeah. So
This Asian thing.
yeah, maybe it's an Asian thing.
I mean, another Asian, okay, maybe not Asian, another stigma that people are actually talking about is where women can't do business. Women can't run their own businesses. Do you face that kind whenever you go on a conference or you have any networking?
When
like
I was
a man will look down on you. I'm not trying to, you know, not saying that I'm very feminist, but we women face this kind of situation most of the time as well, because it's not saying that women can't do anything that what men can. I do believe that women is as strong as men as well. So do you have any experience on that?
Actually, interestingly, no. For my industry, not really. I mean, the last time we actually had this conversation with women in tech industry, right? I think for them it's even more so, right? Because they have to sit in a room with a lot of men.
like
and
semicon, like all the very male-dominated
industry. Yeah,
tough,
but I guess what we do, like beauty,
For me,
education.
in the beginning, yes, actually, because but it's, I think, not so much. Okay, maybe the gender part had a play, but because I was young, so I started young. So you know, naturally, people will be like, "This, you know, what do you know?" You know, yeah. I think that, and when you know I network or when I have to entertain or host like a bunch of, I don't know, 50, 60-year-old men, right? It naturally there will be eyebrows raised or questions, or people will kind of, you know,
Skeptical.
Yeah, like what can you bring to the table? But that's where actually I find it. I use my skill set, which is I think I'm quite a people person. So I use that to build, to network, and prove my worth lah, my mettle, and then build trust from there. So that's one of my strengths, and also patience.
Yeah.
So I take my time to build that, and yeah, eventually, we are good friends. Yeah, other than just business, the business side.
So mentorship is such a powerful part of growth. Did you have a mentor or a role model who inspired you earlier on? Like how did they impacted your path? Do you have anyone in mind?
Okay, maybe I'll go first. So for me, I don't have specific role models, but I have many people. Like I said, I'm a very people person. So there are quite a number of individuals I look up to, whether it's friends or maybe like a boss, or even a relative, that would impact and influence me in some way. And I also have a lot of anti-mentors. That means people that I know, and I make it a point not to behave and act like them. So yeah. So I think that would shape that shapes how I deal with things, matters, and people actually. So I try to.
The reverse psychology part.
Yeah, and I believe in collective wisdom lah. So usually that's how I learn. That's how I pick things up. By my interaction with various people, and I try to pick up the better ones if I can. Yeah. So I have a very varied role models. A few, yeah, but not a singular person. Yeah.
How about you, Cindy?
Yeah, likewise, not a singular person. Yeah, it's like a group of people, like this person, this is good, okay, I learn this from this person, this is good, I learn this from this person. Yeah, but in any case, I also have a coach myself. Yeah, and he's like a 60-over-year-old coach with white hair and all that. Yeah, used to be in business. Yeah, so he's really a coach, because I believe a coach should also have a coach.
Definitely.
Right? So if I'm coaching someone else, I also consult a coach. And I guess the coach helped me see a lot of my other perspective that I may not have seen, or blind spots, or things to consider. So that really helps me to grow as a person as well. Yeah.
Is there any other experience outside the family and mentors that actually impacted on you? Up till these days, is there any scenario that happened that you can always remember?
For me, I guess my faith plays a huge part in what I do, right? Why I do what I do. I guess it has to be a meaningful thing, right? Like since young, I do know that I'm good with sales, like roadshow, selling credit cards, or when I was in a petrol station to upsell merchandise. Like naturally I do know I have that gift, but then at the end of the day, I also tell myself what is truly meaningful to my heart, not just sell anything. Yeah, not just for the money, right? It's not. So that plays a huge part in my life in terms of like I want to do something that is impactful to others, right? To impact life one at a time. And so in my faith journey, that's something I find most meaningful because my life was impacted by someone before, and I really want to pay that forward. And so so that really shapes why I do what I do today.
No wonder we can click so well. Because I am very similar in that sense. Basically, likewise, I'm also naturally adept at sales. Even when I was not applying for a sales job, they asked me to interview for a sales position, Yeah, so it was quite funny. So I've actually been doing, some sort of sales for a long, long time. But what I found real purpose and joy was actually service. Like when I can, impact or be of true service of someone, for someone. I don't know, it gives me the level of fulfillment or joy that sometimes money do not match. Yeah. Yeah. So that's why there's also a tangent shift in the trajectory that I'm on, the path. Because I could have stayed in, a really like sales-driven job and make a lot more. Or, I could choose to just focus on community and then building. I mean, it's not that there is still money to be made. Don't get me wrong. It's just it's more meaningful, and it's sustainable in that sense to my own mental health. And
that's true. And I also remember one of my very first colleague, like for my very first full-time job, that was after my poly.
Yeah.
One lady who's a very senior colleague that shared with me say, now that you're young, right, remember, don't work for money. Like, I remember that, like, don't work for money because money is going to disappoint you one day. But you work for what is truly meaningful for you. Yeah, and then it's true. So I embarked on that, and I added one more to that. Do what is truly meaningful to you and get really good at it. Yeah, or be the best at it. And the money will follow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll never be starved to death when you're good at what you're doing.
Right.
So, so the focus is never on the money itself. Yeah.
As you reflect on those earlier years, what do you think was the single biggest factor that set you on your current path right now?
Single biggest factor.
Yeah, as when you reflect your earlier years.
For me, is growth, betterment. So I cannot stagnate. Yeah, like maybe because I was curious, as I said, kaypoh, whatever. So I'm always on the lookout for, new or greater heights to push boundaries to. Yeah. So I need to keep myself on my toes in that sense, So for me, it's that growth, and growth can be, growth can be, even a very personal thing as well. Not necessarily business or sales, but as a person, how. So that to me is fundamental, and I think that carried from my childhood and all that.
Wow. When you say factor, right? I think it starts with curiosity with people. I think that's the step. Curiosity with people. Then
like genuinely what interest, right?
Like I want to know you as a person. What
Yeah.
shapes you? Why do you think the way you do? Or why would you even fall in love with this type of guy? Yeah, I'll be interested to know. Yeah, and I guess also the people tend to come to me to share about relationship stuff. Yeah, or what they're struggling with in their relationship. They just open up to share things like that to me. So, and I realized that you can trust me enough to share all these things, and I can be in the position to be of help. And that's when I see I can bring value to your life, and that's how I'm doing what I'm doing. Just curious about helping people improve their relationship. And of course, because I couldn't really answer the factor thing, but one thing I can really say is a big event that happened in my life, right? Like people know I've been through a divorce, right? So that in itself.
I don't know. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Now it's news. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I was 24 at that time. Okay,
wow.
24. So that year I got married and got divorced in the same year.
Okay.
So to me that is like a.
Wait, in the same year?
In the same year, that means get married beginning of the year, got divorced at the end of the year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So can annul.
Yeah, now that whole 1 year, right? So that whole process was quite traumatizing, obviously, right? And then I was like, wow, am I such a bad person?
Or
failure in the relationship and all that. So the curiosity with relationships and all that, plus all this failure with relationships, so it does now make sense, right? Why I'm here trying to help people make sense of relationships.
The irony behind.
No, I think it is precisely because you've been through that that you are in the best position to help, because you can
Been there,
empathize.
done that.
You can resonate.
Not only that, but
problems.
I always feel like the successful ones, and I consider you successful.
Wow,
like
thank you.
you have to really hit rock bottom
Mm.
before you can soar, and yeah, and I think that's you know, that's what it is lah. Yeah. Otherwise, you will never know or be able to crawl out. Yeah.
Yeah,
And impact others.
yeah, like whatever down moments or the pain that we've gone through,
Yeah.
it will never be gone to waste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Correct.
it will definitely serve a purpose in the bigger picture.
Yeah.
True. I mean, thank you for sharing all this insight. It's really wonderful to hear everything, how the experience you have back in your childhood days, the values that and the relationship you have with your family. I mean, it's actually quite tough to be a woman, I feel. I mean, it's not
It
really
is.
tough, but it is tough to
It
be a
is.
woman. It is. So, yeah, this is why we are actually doing the podcast,
Okay.
to tell people, to tell all the women, they are not
You've
alone.
got this, yeah.
We all suffer the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, in our next episode, actually, we will explore more, and you guys will share more about the
Okay.
pivotal moments that you have, the milestone that define the path. So, to our listener, I hope you are feeling and inspired by the stories that shared by them, by Cindy and Veronica. So remember that every success comes with a story.
With a story, with a price. Exactly,
Right.
with some pain.
So if you
Okay.
enjoyed the episode, please share and comment and subscribe to our channel, basically. And we will see you on the next episode.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Etika.
Thank you so much.